the experience was so powerful and so beautiful and so transformative that I knew that I had to continue the work for others. I knew I wanted to help people along their own journey.
What a beautiful role model to instill the wisdom of the body and all of that birth wisdom onto you. Can you tell us your story and how you got to where you are today? Like, how did this all unfold for you? How did you become Mama Glow?
I love that question. It was actually a process. I didn't set out to start doing birth work, but I was informed by the journey of my son's birth. And I would say before that, even as a child, when my mother was pregnant, she was pregnant at the same time that my great aunt and my aunt were pregnant. And they were all due within a month of each other in the spring of 1985. I was 4 years old at the time. And then when my sister came, I turned 5. And I was so fascinated by pregnancy. My mother taught me all about the anatomy and made sure that I was like really versed in body literacy. And so something that I kind of embraced at a really early age. And my cousin and I would like stuff dolls under our shirts and like pretend to deliver each other's babies. And I would say that was like one of the sort of earlier memories that I have around birth. And then when my sister arrived, I think there was so much that I was learning, but also that I recall really helped to shape a lot of my beliefs about the body and what the body's capable of. And my mom certainly instilled in me that there was a really powerful and innate wisdom that each of us has. And I came to know my own when my son was born. And he was born in a birth center, which we have options, right? You can do hospital birth, you can do home birth, and another out of hospital birth option is birth center. And that's where my son was born, at a really beautiful, humane place that was run by midwives. And it was through that experience that I really knew that I would do this work and support birthing people in this way. It was because the experience was so powerful and so beautiful and so transformative that I knew that I had to continue the work for others. I knew I wanted to help people along their own journey, whatever that would shape up to be. So that's how I kind of got here. I'm a Taurus, so I drag my feet to everything. I'm stubborn. And so I was hearing a call and I wasn't ignoring it, but I wasn't ready, And I think that happens to a lot of us, right? Where we get a knock or something keeps showing up, or you dream something, or you keep hearing something over and over. It keeps showing up and it gets louder and louder. And sometimes it knocks you over the head. And for me, it didn't get to that extreme, but it was something that kept presenting itself. And it came in different types of, packages and permutations. And the final straw was really when I was at an ashram and it was my birthday. And so they did this puja ceremony for me. And then the Vedic astrologer said, you should come get a reading for your birthday. And let's do it on, I was born on the 3rd of May. So he was like, let's do it 3 days after your birthday. And I was like, okay, perfect. And so I went because that was the auspicious day to get the reading. And so I did the reading that day. And he said a lot of really amazing things. But one thing that he said was that as he was, doing the divination and reading the cowrie shells and the dust and all these beautiful elements from the earth, he said, you're supposed to mother the mother. And I was like, all right, I feel like I'm doing that. He's like, no, it's more than what you're already doing. And that was enough. But then when I got home, he gave me a bunch of numbers. And those numbers I didn't know what they were to correlate with, but they were auspicious numbers. And so I wrote a list, and I still have that list somewhere. I wrote down all the numbers. And so then of course, when you get somebody tells you like, here's your lucky numbers, you're looking everywhere to like see like if you see this number play out in your life in some way. So I'm looking at signs and, like kind of hyper aware that like I might encounter this number. And then of course I got back home and settled back into my life. And not that I forgot about it, but I wasn't as, present to what those numbers, how those numbers might show up. And this is back when we didn't check our emails, like we checked our actual mailbox for letters. And so at this point, I checked my email for some reason, which was something I probably did at that point once a month. And so I checked my email and I look at the date, and there's not a lot in there because, again, people weren't really sending emails back then in the same way as they do now. And I looked at the date, and the date correlated with a date that was given in the reading. And the subject of the email was that I had been accepted to a doula fellowship program. And so then I was like, okay, God, I hear you. I accept the mission, And so that's what it was for me. It was like, okay, like I'm softening into this and I actually feel the readiness to show up for this mission. And so that's how it kind of flowed. But it certainly wasn't like my entire life I've always wanted or knew, like I knew in some way that I would work in women's health. I knew in some way that I would work in wellness. I always knew that. But to the degree that I was able to sort of blend the worlds and all the things that I love about, lifestyle and birth and teaching, I didn't know that I was going to be able to do it in this way. It just sort of unfolded.
Phew, bless me. Sorry.
Bless you.
Wow, that is amazing, honey. How old is your son now?
He's 17.
What?
Yeah. I have a 17-year-old. He's going to college in a year.
Whoa. And
yeah,
when you were sharing about your mother, what a beautiful role model. What a beautiful role model to instill the wisdom of the body and all of that birth wisdom onto you. I feel like if we don't get that from our parents, the way that we get schooled is through watching Hollywood movies about birth and pregnancy.
Yeah.
And we really do need to reprogram that because it's the most incredibly empowering rite of passage. I have not birthed a child myself. I have a stepson who's 14. But from everything that I have read and spoken to so many people and experts, it's such a beautiful and empowering rite of passage. And how amazing to be part of that as a doula. And now you have your doula program where you teach other people how to become doulas.